What if the wisest advice about female sexuality didn't come from a book, but from a 76-year-old woman who's lived, loved, and truly understood what makes a woman feel desired? Her words might surprise you, and they'll definitely open your eyes. In this video, she reveals the truths most men never hear, but every man should know. Before we dive in, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and don't forget to share this with someone who needs to hear it. Because what she says might just change how you see women forever. Let's begin. Lesson 1. Emotional safety unlocks her desire. At 76, Margaret doesn't mince words. If a woman doesn't feel emotionally safe, nothing else matters. This is the first, and most misunderstood, key to unlocking female desire, especially as couples grow older. Men often focus on physical attraction or performance, but Margaret says that for a woman, intimacy begins in her heart, not her body. Women don't just want to be touched, they want to feel emotionally held, she explains. Emotional safety is what allows a woman to relax, open up, and express her deepest sensuality. It's not about solving her problems or always agreeing with her. It's about making her feel accepted, listened to, and protected. Margaret remembers the years when her husband didn't understand this. He'd come home, tired from work, barely say a word, then later try to be intimate. But my heart was still distant. I hadn't felt connected all day. Over time, she realized it wasn't that she didn't want him, it was that she needed to feel emotionally close first. For older couples, this truth becomes even more vital. With age comes experience, but also emotional baggage, health worries, and past wounds. Women crave emotional warmth even more deeply than before. If you want her to say yes in the bedroom, make sure she feels seen in everyday life. A woman who feels emotionally unsafe will shut down. She might avoid intimacy, withdraw, or seem uninterested. But if she feels safe, free from criticism, pressure, or judgment, her passion reawakens. She becomes playful, curious, open. And that's when the real magic begins. Margaret's advice to men is simple but profound. Make her feel emotionally secure, and her body will follow. Her desire isn't gone. It's waiting for the right conditions to come alive. Emotional safety is the foundation. Build it with patience, consistency, and kindness, and you'll discover a deeper, more passionate connection than you ever imagined. Lesson 2. Physical touch must be tender. Margaret smiles knowingly as she leans forward and says, touch isn't just about sex. It's about love, presence, and reassurance. This may be one of the most overlooked truths about female sexuality, especially by men who see touch only as a step toward intimacy. According to her, when touch becomes just a task, women start to feel used. But when it feels tender and thoughtful, it becomes unforgettable. She explains that many men make the mistake of only touching their partners when they're in the mood. This creates a pattern where women associate physical affection with pressure. Over time, it makes them pull away. We start to think, if I let him hold me, he'll expect something. So we stop allowing even the innocent touches. But Margaret says this can change with one simple shift. Touch her without expecting anything in return. Stroke her arm gently while sitting together. Kiss her forehead before bed. Hold her hand during a walk, not as a prelude, but as a loving gesture. Touch us because you want to connect, she says, not because you want something. This kind of touch reminds a woman that she's loved, not just desired. That she's more than her body. That she's cherished. And here's the secret Margaret wants all men to know. When a woman receives this kind of touch regularly, she actually becomes more open to intimacy. Her defenses soften. Her heart warms. She begins to feel safe in her skin again, and that's when her sensual side reawakens. Touch is not a strategy. It's not a trick. It's an offering of love. When done right, it says, I'm here with you. I see you. I care. That message can heal old wounds, rebuild emotional bridges, and spark connection at any age. Margaret's final word on the subject is clear. Don't touch her to get something. Touch her to give something, and you'll receive far more than you ever expected. Lesson 3. Arousal starts way before the bedroom. Margaret leans back in her chair and says something every man needs to hear. A woman's desire doesn't start when the lights go off. It starts hours earlier, with how you treat her throughout the day. This is one of the most misunderstood truths about female sexuality. For men, desire can be more instant. But for women, especially as they grow older, arousal is a process, not a moment. Arousal begins with feeling valued, Margaret explains. It's in the tone of your voice when you say good morning. It's in whether you notice the little things. It's in how you look at her, not just when she's dressed up, but when she's being herself. Women are emotional beings, and when they feel emotionally connected, their bodies naturally follow. Margaret remembers a time when her husband brought her a cup of tea on a cold afternoon. No occasion, no request, just care. It melted me, she said. That one gesture did more for my desire than any romantic date. Men often wait until the bedroom to show affection, but Margaret advises doing the opposite. Plant the seeds all day long. A compliment over breakfast, a surprise text saying you're thinking of her, a kind word when she's stressed. These are small moments that build trust and emotional warmth, and in that warmth, passion grows. Older women, in particular, need to feel emotionally connected to experience true arousal. Their bodies may change with time, but their desire for connection becomes stronger. We don't want to be rushed, Margaret says. We want to be romanced in the little things. And here's the powerful truth. When a woman feels cared for all day, she doesn't just allow intimacy, she craves it. Because now, it's not just physical. It's personal. It's meaningful. It's love, expressed through desire. So if you want to reignite passion in your relationship, start outside the bedroom. Start with kindness. Start with presence. Start with a simple question. How can I make her feel cherished today? According to Margaret, the answer is clear. Arouse her heart first, and her body will follow willingly. Lesson 4. Confidence attracts. Margaret doesn't hesitate when she says, yes, confidence is attractive. But it's kindness that makes a woman stay. Many men, especially in their later years, worry about losing their physical appeal. They think youth, muscles, or money are the keys to attraction. But Margaret knows from experience, that's not what truly moves a woman's heart. At my age, she says with a smile, we've seen it all. Flashy talk, big egos, fancy cars, it's noise. But a man who's calm, steady, and kind? That's unforgettable. Confidence is powerful. A man who walks into a room with quiet self-assurance naturally draws attention. He doesn't need to prove anything. He knows who he is. That kind of energy feels safe and magnetic. But if that confidence isn't paired with humility and kindness, it quickly turns cold. Women don't just want to feel impressed, they want to feel valued. Margaret tells the story of a widowed friend who began dating in her late 60s. She met two men, one charming and boastful, the other quiet and thoughtful. Guess which one she felt safe with? Margaret asks. The one who opened doors for her, remembered her stories, and looked at her like she mattered. Older women are especially drawn to emotional maturity. They've outgrown the need for drama. They're looking for a man who listens, respects, and nurtures, not one who competes or controls. A man who brings peace, not pressure. Kindness is sexy, Margaret says. It makes a woman relax. And when she relaxes, she blossoms. That's the secret many men miss. True intimacy doesn't begin with impressing her, it begins with understanding her. So if you're wondering how to attract or re-attract the woman in your life, don't focus on being flashy. Focus on being real. Show strength, but also softness. Be confident, but let her see your heart. Because, as Margaret puts it, the man who makes her feel cherished is the man she dreams about. No matter what age. Lesson 5. A woman's body changes. At 76, Margaret speaks openly about the changes that come with age. Our bodies aren't the same. Things shift, sag, slow down. But that doesn't mean our desire disappears, it just transforms. One of the most important lessons she shares is this: aging may change how a woman feels about her body, but her need to be loved, touched, and desired never fades. Many men assume that as women grow older, they simply lose interest. But Margaret says that's not the full story. We don't lose the desire, we lose confidence in how we look. We worry we're no longer beautiful, no longer wanted. These quiet insecurities can silently erode a woman's willingness to be intimate. That's why reassurance is everything. Margaret explains that a gentle compliment, a warm glance, or even saying, "You're still so beautiful to me," can light up a woman's spirit. We need to be reminded that we are still worthy of desire, not just for what we once looked like, but for who we are now. Touch becomes more emotional than physical. It's not about perfection, it's about presence. Holding her hand, brushing her hair from her face, hugging her longer than usual. These actions rebuild what time tries to take away, the belief that she is still lovable. Men who adapt with tenderness, not frustration, open the door to a deeper intimacy than they had in their younger years. My husband used to chase the idea of performance, Margaret recalls. But as we aged, what meant more was how he made me feel safe, admired, wanted. Sex may slow down, but intimacy can actually deepen. And when a woman feels accepted in her aging body, she begins to rediscover her sensual side. Margaret smiles as she says, "Don't mourn what's changed. Celebrate what you've gained, the chance to love each other fully, without the masks." If you want a woman to stay close as the years pass, make her feel beautiful now. Not because of how she compares to her younger self, but because of how deeply you see her today. Lesson 6. Talk openly. Margaret says one of the most liberating truths she discovered in her later years was this: "I wanted to talk about sex, about my needs, about what I liked, but I was scared of being misunderstood." She believes that open conversation is the hidden door to deeper intimacy, especially for older couples. We grow up thinking silence is polite. But silence is where passion goes to die. Many women keep quiet, not because they lack desire, but because they fear embarrassment, rejection, or being seen as too much or not enough. That's why Margaret urges men to create a space where their partner can speak freely. Ask her what she enjoys, what makes her feel loved, and then really listen. Don't rush to fix, just listen. She shares that one of the most healing moments in her marriage came from a simple question her husband asked: "Is there something you wish I knew about what you like?" That one question opened up years of hidden feelings, unspoken desires, and untold emotions. We cried, we laughed, and yes, we got closer than ever. Open communication doesn't ruin romance, it deepens it. When a woman feels safe to express herself without fear of shame or judgment, her desire expands. She no longer has to guard herself. She feels trusted and known. That's when emotional intimacy blossoms into physical connection. Margaret encourages men to lead with vulnerability. You don't have to be perfect. Just be real. Say, "I want to understand you better." That alone makes a woman feel cherished. And the truth is, women want to know you, too. They want to hear your fears, your desires, your stories. They want to be your safe space, just as you are theirs. Too often, couples age into silence. But the real joy of growing older together is found in deeper honesty. The kind of talks that only decades of life and love can create. Margaret's final wisdom here is simple. Talk to her like she's your best friend, not your obligation. She'll become more open than you ever imagined. Lesson 7. Intimacy is a ritual. Margaret closes her final lesson with the kind of quiet truth that only a life fully lived can deliver. You don't rush something sacred. And intimacy, when it's real, is sacred. In her view, the best relationships, especially later in life, treat intimacy not as an act to check off, but as a meaningful ritual to be savored. As couples age, physical energy may change. Schedules may slow. But that's not a problem, it's an opportunity. Margaret says, "The beauty of getting older is you stop trying to perform, and you start trying to connect." This shift from urgency to presence can transform everything. She shares how, in her 70s, she and her husband began approaching intimacy like they did a slow dance. Soft lighting, music, no distractions. Time wasn't rushed. We didn't even always make love, she says, but we always left the moment feeling closer. This is where many men miss the mark. They believe that intimacy must lead somewhere specific, like a goal. But women, especially mature women, feel most drawn when intimacy is spacious. When it's not about finishing, but about feeling. Let it be slow, Margaret urges. Let it be quiet. Let it be warm. When a woman senses that you're not rushing her or expecting a performance, she opens herself more freely. She feels safe to be sensual, playful, or simply close. And this doesn't have to happen only in the bedroom. Margaret considers many things to be intimate rituals: cooking together, bathing together, holding hands in silence. Anything that brings us into the same emotional space as intimacy. She challenges men to shift their thinking. Stop asking, "Did we have sex?" and start asking, "Did we connect deeply today?" Because when you consistently connect emotionally, physical closeness flows naturally and joyfully. In the end, Margaret's message is clear: cherish the time you have. Make every moment count. Treat intimacy like a sacred dance between souls. When you do, age won't dim your passion, it'll make it richer. Conclusion. Thank you for listening to these wise lessons from Margaret's lifetime of experience. Remember, true intimacy grows from emotional safety, tender touch, open talk, and meaningful connection, not just physical acts. If you want to deepen your relationship and reignite passion at any age, start with kindness and presence every day. If this video helped you, please like, comment, and share it with others who might benefit. And don't forget to subscribe for more empowering advice that honors love and connection through all stages of life. Your journey to deeper intimacy starts now.